So you could have a completely normal heart cath and still have plaque. And then only late, and we're talking decades after you have plaque, will it begin to grow inward and cause blockages. Will not have symptoms, chest pain, angina, any awareness of it, till we already have a 70% blockage. But the disease has been there literally decades, right? Which we can now see with this technology. So if we detect it early, heart disease or strokes, too, as we know it, ceases to exist. So our main purpose here is look at all the blood vessels. We'll look at all the valve stuff as well. So what we're looking at here, there are your ribs. There's your spine. This is your scapula, your shoulder blades here. Here we are, speaking of which side of the divot, we're looking at the bottom of the heart here. So there's your heart right here. This is your aorta going down to the belly here. Vessel right here is one of the first vessels that comes off the heart, or off the aorta as it heads down the belly. That's did you break your rib on the right?
Because I had a lot of pain here.
Right.
That was only a few weeks ago too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So
Kelly, I'll remember more about it. I mean, honestly, I've been to so many doctors the last month. Is it near the clavicle?
Well, yeah, so it'd be on the right side.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it was
and
called.
it would be basically kind
yeah,
of
exactly.
here.
That's where it was.
Yeah, that's what you look like there. We can also begin to put back all the other stuff here. So there's your muscles there. There's where your right lung is. There's your left lung. These are all the different arteries and veins that go to and from the lungs. The pneumonia is pretty well resolved. There's also just a smidgen here, and we really have just a cylinder view, right? In the middle of that cylinder is the heart, but I can look at all these other structures and cut you in any axis, right? So here we call this coronal. So there's your right lung here, left lung, heart's in the middle. There's those ribs we talked about earlier. We're also going to check that the bone density there. This number right here in the middle, again, is kind of the key number. So below 100 is really osteoporosis, right? Should be above 200, and between 100 and 200 is kind of the middle zone, right? We'll call that some osteopenia, right? So not osteoporosis, where there's significant loss of calcium, but definitely some loss of calcium. So you see how this looks more gray? Usually it should look more bright, okay? That's because of the calcium in the bones. So little bit of arthritis right there, tiny little bit right there. Little loss of some disc space here, right? So the discs literally just sit between the bones. I really don't see on this any prolapse, where basically prolapse just means that one of the flaps kind of gets loose, and when it should be closing, it sort of does that, and then you get all this leakage. We'll actually get quite big, because all that blood, it has to go somewhere, so if it's not going this way and the valve's leaking, now we get all that blood leaking or regurgitating back up in the left atrium. So usually the left atrium's big, and I don't see that. It's purely mechanical, right? And hopefully we keep ahead of the polyps enough that they never turn into cancer. But we do not have drugs or treatment or therapy to treat or prevent polyps, right? We just find them and scrape them out. In my world of plaque, we have an array of highly effective and proven tools that stop and reverse plaque, which is the ultimate cause of strokes and heart attacks.
Wow.
So if we detect it early, heart disease or strokes, too, as we know it, ceases to exist. Also, by the way, there we are looking on the inside of your heart, so that's always fun to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of those coronary arteries, those blood vessels. Down here is that same vessel, but imagine I took that vessel and laid it all out in the same virtual plane, right? I took that vessel, cut it right down the middle, laid it all out in the same plane. Don't try this at home, okay? And now we're looking on the inside of the vessel, but I can see not just the blood flow and if there's plaque or blockages, but I can also see what I call is the donut too. This is important because plaque always forms out in the donut, not the donut hole, right? It'll actually grow outwards, and then only late, and we're talking decades after you have plaque, will it begin to grow inward and cause blockages. Will not have symptoms, chest pain, angina, any awareness of it, till we already have a 70% blockage. But the disease has been there literally decades, right? Which we can now see with this technology. This is so much more sensitive, 5% of the cost and none of the risk. on the heart cath, which up until we had this technology, what appears to be a restriction in blood flow, but that doesn't start until you have a 70% blockage. Anything less than that, your stress test is completely normal. So you could have a completely normal heart cath and still have plaque. And that's the problem. And it's 20 times more costly and has a lot more complications than obviously what we did. Much bigger deal for you. They put you out in the hospital, put things in your groin, risk of bleeding, infection, strokes, heart attacks, etc. But I can tell you, having done about 20,000 of these over the last 25 years, I don't see any plaque or buildup. But the AI is better than my eyes, okay? The AI is even better than my eyes, even though I've done a bunch of these. So we'll see. It might be able to might show a couple little baby plaques or so that I don't see. From the age of 40, the lifetime risk of developing high blood pressure in the US is 90%. I'm hoping and praying you stay in that 10%. And I will say, on the tricuspid valve, if we did echoes in everybody in this room, we'd all have some leakage through the tricuspid valve. And the tricuspid valve is one of the most lenient valves. You could have what we call wide open leakage and be perfectly fine. What the echo is going to show me, has better resolution, spatial resolution than echo. What echo is going to show me is the flow of blood, right? What I can't see on this is blood flow, right? Echo is going to give me the blood flow. So I can take the anatomical data, then that becomes very, very helpful for me to see if there's leakage or not. The two chambers right there, the white one and red one, are the atria. These are the upper chambers of the heart, okay? The two bigger chambers in the bottom, this is the left ventricle, and that's the right ventricle, okay? So all the blood flows back from the body into the right atrium, which is the red chamber up top. Okay. And then all the blood flows back from the lungs after being oxygenated into the left atrium, which is the white structure right there, okay? And the big structure right there, tubular structure, is the aorta. That's the aorta that carries all the blood out of the heart. It's really big. Do not bend, spindle, mutilate, rip, tear that vessel. That's a bad, very, very bad thing to do, okay? So that's the heart. And then the coronary arteries are these little vessels that run on the surface of that. With mitral valve leakage or regurgitation, the blood in the chambers of the heart should only flow basically in one direction. So all the blood flows from the left atrium out, coming back from the lungs, oxygenated, flows through the mitral valve and into the left ventricle. Okay? And then the left ventricle really is important because that's going to pump all the blood out to the rest of our body. What happens is if there's leakage, particularly if there's a lot of leakage in that valve, right? So the valve basically just sits and does that all day long, right? If there's a lot of leakage, then what happens is, for any number of reasons, like rheumatic fever, rheumatic things can do that, but another things can do that. But if there's a lot of leakage, all that blood that should only be going this direction now begins to go back into that atria, into the larger chamber. And usually that left atrium will be quite large, right? Because it's getting all the blood flow coming in the right direction, back from the lungs, but then also whatever blood flow is now coming back through the valve that shouldn't be coming through, the leakage. So that left atrium, which is this structure, usually gets quite large, right? I mean, because it's getting flow from both sides. And I don't see that. If you have a lot of, severe tricuspid valve regurgitation, all that blood that normally should be coming back from the body, it starts not getting back to the heart, it starts backing up. So you get swelling in the legs. It can even back up into the liver and your liver gets enlarged, because again, all that blood is not going back to the heart, right? It's all going in the reverse direction. So what I was showing David earlier, see this right here? That's a rib fracture. And I can tell how old that rib fracture is. That rib fracture has been healing a while, right? It's probably in the range of 6 to 8 weeks old. My suspicion is, I think you had the rib fracture, then bleeding into the lung, and the pneumonia because of all that. There's not much distance there. Yeah. Over on this side, if you look at it, there's the rib, and see how much thicker that is? So that's the scar tissue that they purposely did to stick that lung down so it wouldn't deflate and cause trouble. So there's his spinal column. I'm cutting him with my magic machete right there. What I found was his bone density is low, which may not be a coincidence back to how do you break a rib and not know it?
I've had a couple of health issues, and I had pneumonia, and anyway, they said I had some leaky heart valves, and coming here really, as I say, was a real opener because, in opinion, because as I say, the average layman, does not understand all that goes on inside the body, and you just take somebody's word for it, and this is incredible, really, what you do here at ClearCardio, because you see everything. It's like in the space of just a few minutes too. This is not like it's an invasive type of procedural thing. It's really amazing where you've got the technology, you've got expert opinions, you've got Dr. Osborne here.
You had expressed to Dr. Osborne, who you spent most of the day with today, going through the ClearCardio process, right? We did the blood work, we did the CT angiogram. How was that CT? How was that for you? Was that any problems for you?
No, it's so easy. Basically you lie there, they connect you up. There's no pain whatsoever, and it's not even claustrophobic, because really not, your whole body's not really in the tube, so to speak, like an MRI. So
right. We call it the donut of destiny.
The whole procedure is so easy, so simple. I'd recommend this to anybody, especially as we get older. We don't know what really goes on inside our bodies, and unfortunately, until it's too late in many cases, and say, wow, if you'd only known. Well, now you do know, and it is obviously focusing mainly on the heart, but they see literally everything from here down to here.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
And we show you.
Yeah. And
like you saw it.
And
real
you see
time.
it. Yeah, you see it in 3D, which is like, and it's so, they're looking at it from all these different angles. Obviously being involved in golf now, we're into the technology and looking at things at 3D, and we're seeing things now we could never see before. So now you've got that. Also, in conjunction with AI, I've got AI to back it up. So, it's pretty much a foolproof situation. So,
quite an eye-opener today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
And we did a thorough analysis on you, echocardiogram, we did the CT angiogram, and the next time we see you will be in a couple of days. It'll be remotely through Zoom, and you're going to get our full diagnosis and AI analysis, along with a really in-depth report. And effectively, what we've done today is we have shown you that you do not need that open heart surgery.
First of all, it's the drama and the stress, really, thinking about it. And then you've got the recovery process, and it's like, hey, I'm not getting any younger. And it's like, I really don't want to spend, the rest of my years in recovery.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get on and do the things I normally do.
You just got over pneumonia.
I just got over pneumonia. Yeah, prevention is better than cure, right?
Yeah,
and so this is a great way of say, getting something before, nip it in the bud, so to speak.
Yeah. We also determined what caused your pneumonia. We are 99.9% sure that broken rib, which you didn't know you had, you felt the pain, was what caused the pneumonia and not the other way around.
Yeah, that was also an amazing thing to think about too, because I was guessing, well, how did I catch pneumonia? Because I'm pretty fit. I work out.
You look fantastic.
And I eat right. It's just sad, really, that obviously heart disease is the biggest killer in the world, right? Add all the other illnesses and what have you together. And so you just wonder if, how many people could have been saved if they'd actually gone through a process like this. Obviously it's relatively new, but yeah, it's. This is obviously the wave of the future. On the cutting edge of it. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming down all the way from Tampa.
No,
I'm
not
so
that far.
happy and excited for you that your future is a lot brighter than you thought it was going to be, with respect to surgeries and so on. You're going to have many, many more years of teaching people how to swing properly, that's for sure. And all of you out there are lucky to have him. And we're actually going to be talking in the coming weeks and months about some exciting things we're going to be doing together. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, well, thank you for coming out. And you're going back with a very different mindset, aren't you?
Very much so. Yeah, it's more positive outlook. And as I say, I've always prided myself on good health. I thought, man, I'm definitely cracking up if I've got to go through all of this. And so,
would you recommend this to other people?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So if you have the opportunity, ClearCardio is the way to go.